Abusua makwaba eba POG media so POG see tenase na chese mo say Ghana political stories ni bi na chese yensa kan e de baba so mo so be ya mo so be hu de echo ene de eba ni na e wo POG media so na yebo e de ewra yensi ma na chese e de ani enso e de che e court akone de akone aba dia chese no so so enam the former government NPP government no ma na chese omo so na na do dan komu amana bo oman no amana bo oman timi afa no to papa efra na so mara ne oman the government no na chese kamia koyese allegedly no ebi nso de omo nsa eko share corruption mu na say omo so eri omo ti share sa na ya say bra NDC aban enso ba aban mu na say bra NDC campaign no ono nso timi ka ne simpie so say otimi eba into power sankofuko ni na obehwe na emra enso ene omedi na case na just amanfo enso ani di akire ba na se dodo na so nim de ekọ ewo professor ameya Akumfi ne air train scandal chese ono so ehye oman Ghana bo ma ipeja sika twitwiri de ma no se ono so ebe SkyTrain de ama oman Ghana kamya koyese sika no ye hu ska no SkyTrain bia so ye hu na NDC aban edebo edira court na me no ka say lawyer ono so represent professor Ameya Akumfi ono so etimi eja no esimi ya wo court de ma me no ka say na chese professor Ameya Akumfi case no judge enso etimi dia share da fofra na bibe busa say den e court for lawyer yi professor Ameya Akumfi no be yen command ni bebre edi na busu me se bebre ni abo e de rasa issue we mu medase.
Let me just remind you, we have an exclusive interview with Dr. Kamaldeen Ali. He's a naval captain retired. He's the current director general of the Ghana Maritime Authority. Give an update on a rather unfortunate incident that boat that capsized on the Volta Lake, leading to the death of almost over 10 people. Now, stay with us because that's coming up in a bit. But coming up next on Ghana Tonight, we have an update for you as well in the ongoing trial of Professor Christopher Akumfi and Solomon Asamoah in connection with the infamous SkyTrain project that never was. Dennis Paberiwadam Esquire is with me. He was in court earlier today. Lawyers for Professor Christopher Akumfi, the former board chair of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, have withdrawn their services. Dennis, why? What's going on?
Well, so I mean, it's very normal for such things to happen if there's a disagreement between counsel and then clients. I mean, counsel can withdraw their representation. So it's one of those things.
I see.
I say so because the letter that was written to the court, which was, it did not indicate what the reasons were. But Prof himself had indicated that there were some misunderstanding between them for which they are mediating. So, I mean, basically that's about it. So he now has to look for another lawyer or to engage services of other lawyers. So because of that, the proceedings for today could not carry on. And that basically was an application they had to stay proceedings. That's because they had earlier filed a motion seeking the Attorney General to disclose to them some documents. Some documents to the effect that they needed those documents to be able to help their case.
Right.
And as the law is, I mean, they're entitled to that if indeed that kind of document exists. The Attorney General opposed that. And the basis for the opposition is that the documents that they were asking for, they do not have that document. So there's no way they could give such a document. The court ruled against them. That is to say, the court dismissed that application for that disclosure. So they went on an appeal. So while on an appeal, they came back to the High Court to say, stay the proceedings, let's deal with the one at the Court of Appeal and come back. However, when they were there today to move that application, the second accused person, who is in the person of Prof, did not have his lawyer. So they had to adjourn the case just to allow him to get a lawyer so that on the next adjourned date, they can have that business done.
I see. And I know that this is one that you're following quite closely, and we'll see. So it's incumbent on Christopher Akumfi, professor, to get a new lawyer, right? And then we'll see how things go.
That's it, sure.
Thank you. This is Ghana Tonight, but let's take focus.
Also, lawyers for Professor Christopher Akumfi, the former board chair of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund GIF, have withdrawn their services. This was disclosed by Justice Akumfi, presiding judge in the SkyTrain trial. Professor Akumfi and the former CEO of GIF, Solomon Asamoah, are facing multiple charges, including causing financial loss to the states for their roles in the botched Accra SkyTrain project.
When the case was called on Monday, October 13, Professor Akumfi notified the court that his lawyer would not be present. After being prodded by the judge, he indicated that there had been a misunderstanding between him and his counsel, a matter which he added that he was hopeful would be resolved soon. But Justice Audrey Kokuvite indicated that the court had received a letter from the lawyers stating withdrawal of their services. The case was adjourned to Monday, October 20, after the PC Attorney General, Dr. Justice Remsai, indicated that the defense lawyers had filed an application which needed to be moved. At the last adjourned date, the defense lawyers moved a motion which would compel the prosecution to disclose documents they argued contained minutes of board and committee meetings, exculpatory material necessary to challenge the prosecution's claim that the investment lacked the required authorization.
That application was dismissed by the court. They have since filed an appeal and continued to file an application to stay proceedings pending that appeal. The case is back in court on Monday, October 20, Lorida, TC News, Accra.
Right, let's go to Parliament now. The Speaker of the House, Abànd0n, has disclosed that he knows the Member of Parliament who voted to elect him as Speaker of the 8th Parliament. He has dismissed claims that former Domi Kwabenya Member of Parliament, Sarah Adjosafo, secretly voted in his favor, stating that those allegations are false. Christian Yali reports.
The Speaker of Parliament, Abànd0n's office was busy on Monday when he received different delegations for different conversations throughout the day. The first was the family of the late Apostle Dr. Adjosafo Kantanka, led by his daughter, the former MP for Dom Kwabenya, Sarah Adjosafo, who came to formally inform the Speaker about the passing and funeral arrangement for the late Ghanaian icon. During the engagement, the Speaker revisited a controversy and stated that it is never true on any day that Adjosafo voted him to become the Speaker of the 8th Parliament.
I call her my daughter because the time I used to come there, she was a small girl. So I started calling her my daughter before she joined politics and came to join me in Parliament. And she remained my daughter, but we belong to different political traditions. So because she's my daughter and we love each other, even when I was contesting to be Speaker, they thought she voted for me. I want to assure all of you that she didn't vote for me.
This led to a series of controversies in which even members of the New Patriotic Party described Adjosafo as a traitor for voting secretly in favor of NDC's Abànd0n.
That was a false accusation, and she suffered the consequences. She voted for the position of her party, not for me. I'm using this opportunity to dispel that decision because it's still hanging around and people are still using it against her. Because I know those who voted for me. I've been in this system for long. And I know the business of politics.
The family then went ahead to formally communicate to the Speaker about the passing of their beloved.
You were part of his family. You were his brother. And you even knew him before I entered Parliament. And so it's only proper that as a family we come and inform you. That's why we're here. And as you said, we're here to take directions, we're here to take instructions, we're here to take advice from you as the father that he left behind for us, so that we can all together plan a befitting burial and funeral for your brother.
Later in the day, a different delegation led by the MP for Gomoa Central, Kwame Asario, being A+, and other dignitaries from the Gomoa Ejumako traditional area paid a courtesy call on the speaker to formally invite him to the launch of the Gomoa Industrial Park. Parliament is expected to resume on Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. Already, expectations are high for the presentation of the 2026 budget by the Minister for Finance, Christian Yale. TV3 News, Parliament.
And our President John Dramani Mahama has called on countries that share common values and interests to unite in the face of global trade challenges. His comments come after Ghana was hit with a 15% tariff on its export to the United States following a new trade order. In a bilateral meeting with Premier of the State Council of China, Li Qian, during his state visit to the People's Republic of China, President Mahama reiterated his concerns about the U.S. trade policies.
The world is changing rapidly after the Second World War. We all agreed that we would adopt a multilateral world order. Unfortunately, some countries have decided to act unilaterally, both in terms of their relationship with other countries, but also in terms of destroying the rules-based world trade order that we all had agreed to. And so countries are slapping tariffs unilaterally on other countries. My own country, Ghana, has not been spared. We've been slapped with 15% tariffs, but I'm sure that is far less than China has been slapped with. And so it's creating a lot of confusion and unpredictability in the whole world. But this is a time that countries that have shared values must stand together. And Ghana and China have had shared values. We have voted in international organizations on the same side. And so as the world becomes more unpredictable, there's a time that countries
sound like you made a message super job for like so subscribe you to a POG political media as well. Any the enable so a job for subscription now we're sharing off for so answer so it's make a made a be no so the echo and the Abànd0n oh my Ghana politics now come back or say a yementimo asibi and also etimi ebo edura a year lawyer and a professor and tema and also Emma a lawyer no ejina sa a year Mentamwase and also a boy you won't tell me a day I withdraw from also in case me no can say a year judges almost so etna sem so and so a pedit for almost washe say a year professor a year Akumfi and pay a new lawyer before so almost so every proceeding with a case no.
Like Ghana and China and other willing partners that believe in multilateralism should stand even closer together. And we appreciate the work that China is doing in that regard. Let me congratulate China and to thank you for the support you continue to give to Africa through FOCAC and the Belt and Drive Initiative. These programs are opening up infrastructure that facilitate trade. Especially Africa has adopted the African Continental Free Trade Area. And so it becomes important that we put in the infrastructure, the railways, the ports, the roads, to be able to exchange goods between African countries. And China has been one of the countries that has assisted in this regard.
Right, so from China, let's come back home to Ghana to some very unfortunate news that happened over the weekend. The Ghana Maritime Authority says that it will continue to intensify education on the Volta Lake to ensure passenger safety. This follows the death of 15 people in a boat accident near Ketekrachi in the Oti region. Deputy Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Mubarak Masaoud, tells TV3 that the authority will make its findings public after investigations are concluded.
The boat accident occurred around 1:30 p.m. on Saturday, October 11, near Ketekrachi in the Oti region. According to the Ghana Maritime Authority, preliminary investigations suggest the boat was overloaded, far exceeding its safe operational capacity. This is not the first time boat disasters have occurred on the Volta Lake, claiming lives. For Oti Regional Minister John Kweju Japong, The concern has to do with the refusal of some passengers to wear life jackets while traveling on the Volta Lake.
There shouldn't be more than 10 on the boat. It carried over 24 people. None of them were allowed putting on a life jacket. A lot of life jackets are provided, but never do you see them use it. But the situation is that it is not like when you talk about the lake, people are maybe in the towns and then they go somewhere, do their fishing and then come back. No. Because of the intervention of the Akuffo Dam, there have been a lot of islands that have been created by the Volta Lake.
Deputy Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Mubarak Masawudu, insists enforcement of safety protocols will be intensified.
We would want to plead to the general public to all be custodians of safety on our inland waterways, political authority, our elders, and everyone should ensure that all these safety measures and protocols are observed.
On concerns about ensuring safety on islands on the Volta Lake, Mubarak Masawudu explained the authorities' inability to monitor activities on some of those islands.
Ghana Maritime Authority is present in almost every major landing site. You will find us. Now, when it comes to the very numerous island communities, you would agree with me that practically, really, you cannot put Ghana Maritime Authority staff in almost every community, especially the island communities, to be ensuring this. That is why it is very important that the public make our work easy for us. We are increasingly taking more people there to augment already the staff that we have. But really, what would really help all of us in this situation is the public adhering to the safety measures and protocols.
A specialized team, including maritime safety inspectors and personnel from the Navy Task Force in Dambai, has been dispatched to the scene. The GMA says it has launched a widespread enforcement campaign across Volta Lake to ensure compliance with safety protocols.
Right. Between 2023 and 2025, there have been about 6 boat incidents that have claimed dozens of lives, over 50 lives. Let's bring you the numbers so you see how serious this is. In March 2023, on the 27th to be precise, on the Oti River, canoe carrying 11 people capsized, 8 drowned and 3 survived. In May that year, on the Lake Volta, passenger boats struck a tree stump and capsized. 18 people were confirmed dead, while others are still missing. On September 14, 2023, on the Addo estuary, a related capsizing event in Addo claimed several people were reported missing there. The next day, on the Addo estuary again, but this time in the Greater Accra region, 2 fishing boats overturned near Addo, where 7 fishermen were reported missing. And then in June 2024, on the Oti River near the Dambai area, a service boat capsized on the river. Between 3 to 11 people were reported drowned and several rescued. They were lucky. And then the very current one on the Lake Volta, in Ketekrachi, in the Oti region, a passenger boat capsized between Akroma and Bawumia, where 15 people were reported dead, including 11 children. Overloading and collision with submerged debris was the reason for that incident. And as you heard earlier, there is an investigation still ongoing to bring us more details on that unfortunate incident.
Let's go on to some other stories. Now, the pledge to construct a bridge over the Afram River between Addo and Exp0sé in the eastern region remains unfulfilled years after it was proposed. Stanley Niblu reports that as the delay drags on, livelihoods are being disrupted and lives endangered by a risky canoe voyage.
It's mid-morning at the Addo ferry station. Commuters have gathered anxiously by the riverbank, waiting for the ferry that connects the eastern region's Addo to Exp0sé in the Afram Plains South District. For decades, This ferry has been the only means of transport across the River Frȧuḍ, a lifeline linking one of Ghana's most productive agricultural zones to markets in southern Ghana. But this lifeline has become a daily ordeal. When the ferry breaks down or delays, passengers are stranded for hours, sometimes days. That is the situation the news team met during our trip to Akroma. Passengers who have waited for close to 3 hours heaved a sigh of relief when the ferry finally arrived. Beyond the inconvenience, the absence of a bridge over the River Frȧuḍ is slowing down the economic pulse of an entire region. The Afram Plains is one of Ghana's vital food baskets, supplying fish, maize, vegetables and other produce to urban markets across the country. However, transportation delays mean food items rot before reaching their destinations, depriving farmers of income and affecting market supplies in the south.
Our road is not good. It's very dusty. We have potholes, and when it rains, it's very difficult for the riders to move on the road, and it normally causes accidents.
The bad road she refers to is the Abànd0n from Tiasi Akroma stretch, a critical transport corridor now in a deplorable condition. The pothole-ridden route has become a nightmare for commuters, extending travel times and exposing travelers to robbery attacks. President John Dramani Mahama, during the 2024 campaign, reiterated his pledge to construct a bridge over the Afram River, a promise first made by his predecessor, but never fulfilled. Residents say they are hopeful but cautious, having heard similar assurances in the past.
Commuters say the promise to construct a bridge over the Afram River is a necessity that must be redeemed.
District Chief Executive for Kwewu Afram Plains South, Moses Tangbe, however, says government is aware of the challenges and remains committed to improving transportation.
Parties that promise and pledge and do not deliver. And we have political parties that promise, they give a pledge and they deliver. I believe in President John Dramani Mahama. During the campaign visit to Afram Plains North and South, it was a promise he made. He said it point blank that Afram Plains Bridge will be constructed.
While the assurance brings a glimmer of hope, the people of Afram Plains say time is running out. Each day lost to ferry delays, poor roads and safety risk comes at a cost of lives, livelihoods and the nation's food supply chain. Their call is simple but urgent. Build the bridge, fix the road, and connect a region that holds the promise of food security for all. The people of Addo and Abànd0n are not just calling for convenience. They are demanding access to opportunity, safety and dignity. Clearly, the Afram Bridge project is more than a campaign promise. It is a national necessity that requires immediate action, not rhetoric. Stanley Niblew, TV3 News, Afram Plains South, Eastern Region.
Some residents of Agaveji, Salakope and other communities in the Ketu South municipality in the Volta region have started returning to the shoreline as the level of destruction of the sea has been brought under control. Joseph Armstrong reports a working visit to the affected areas by the Parliamentary Select Committee saw
Medazi so kame hona yebo edi radio media say POG Media the Abànd0n authentic political headlines and as updates are a POG Media so pena on so sabeti me aka na mo hu the aircom ene the Abànd0n ewo my Ghana politics na make sure so subscribe to POG Media ene the no bo kwa so abejo post subscribe na wa share no for so answer so etimi aka betimi so slide into the comment section or now so etimi edin komo na POG Media man say beba na yenso ya baba be ma ho boy me that's it so jebre na kam we be say share